Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night here on DJNTV. Tonight, gang, we're going to talk about a topic that probably a lot of you have been kind of getting into your households here in the last few days. I've got Jerry Bazata with me tonight. Good evening, Jerry.
Hey, John, how are you?
I am doing well, doing very, very well. Thanks for joining me tonight. This is a topic, actually, for those of you, I'll give you a little behind the scene. I was actually talking to Jerry about a different topic that we're going to be doing next week. But because of how everything changed in the stock market yesterday for a lot of people, we decided to kind of do a how this economy could affect your DJ business and how to prepare to basically not fail during this particular time. Now, Jerry, this was kind of a variation of what you talked about at DJ Expo last year. Can you, for the folks who didn't make it to Expo, what did you cover at the show?
Sure. What I really covered at the show was all signs were pointing that we were heading towards a recession. So really what I covered was a couple of things. Number one, how do you kind of prepare yourself for a downturn in the economy? What are things that you need to be thinking about? Number two, what are the steps that you needed to take? What did you need to sort of financially plan? And then the third thing is, how are you going to survive through that recession? So what are mistakes that all of us as small business owners made during a downturn recession, and how can you capitalize on it? This, whatever the markets do, there's always an opportunity there. And so it's very interesting that I got a lot of texts and emails about, Jerry, you were right on point. You called, because I said it's going to happen sometime in 2020. I was anticipating second or third quarter. Just because of where we are in the marketplace, where everything was kind of trending. And so now we have the perfect storm. We have the opportunity that we had a global event that affected economies across the world, and the instability of where business is going kind of created this sort of pandemonium out there. But the one thing I've got to say, and we got to start right off the bat, is this is not gloom and doom. This is not the end of the world. We've been through many, many types of events, whether it be 9/11, whether it be the financial crisis in 2008, our small bear markets in 16 and in 13. We're just going through a transitional period. So for the DJs out there, it's not a time to panic. It's a time to refocus. It's a time to re-energize and continue your business so that you continue to grow and build profits.
So, Jerry, just for the folks who really don't know you, you have a mobile entertainment company and you also work in the financial world. Give us a little quick a bio on who Jerry Bazata is.
Sure. I actually have been a banker since I was in college back in 1983, but I also ran a dual career as a DJ. So I started my career in New York City, graduated from Sacred Heart University with a degree in banking and finance, and have worked in Connecticut, New York, Maine, Massachusetts as a commercial lender, either doing large corporate or doing small business. So I ran the two hand in hand. And back in about 1996, I started speaking industry-wide, first beginning with the bar, restaurant, nightclub show, and then transitioning with Brian O'Connor to the DJ Expo. And it's really been kind of my focus has been helping businesses really understand it. Are you a DJ first or are you a business owner first? In my opinion, they're both hand in hand, and you've got to run it equally as part. So DJ Times with my writing has gave me the money answer man. And I've kind of picked that flag up and carried it throughout my career. So
yeah,
I've financed businesses as small as $5,000 and as large as $150 million.
Excellent, excellent. And I got to sit in on your presentation back in Atlantic City, and I'll tell you that was you were preaching to the choir, because I've been telling people for quite a while this very similar story. When you were talking about up there, it's like, ooh, someone else sees what I'm seeing. It was really nice, because my wife gets tired of me talking about things like that all the time. It's like, we got to be very ready. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's dig into it a little bit. Of course, the stock market had a really rough day yesterday, better day today. There's a lot of uncertainty out there right now. As a small business person in that DJ, or even a photo booth owner, because there's a lot of photo booth folks who will follow us, what can they do right now? Because it could be kind of a rough patch here for the next several months.
Yep. The first thing is don't run and hide. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't look at this as gloom and doom. Yes, I have seen on the boards people having corporate events canceling. It's affecting everybody across the board, but they're doing it for the right reasons. Those corporate events are going to come back. We're in an industry. It's just people are taking a pause to be safe and sound. But if you've built a relationship with those corporate event planners, with those businesses, they're going to call you back. They're going to have those again. They're going to do it. So we're sort of in a holding pattern right now. Couples are not giving up on weddings. They're still planning. They have jobs. People haven't lost their jobs. It's not like 2008 where we had the collapse of the financial industry and businesses couldn't get money. So corporations started laying off. We're at almost zero unemployment. Okay.
Yeah,
nobody's lost their job. There hasn't been mass layoffs. There haven't been mass firings. So people are still earning an income. They're still going to get married. People are still going to have gatherings. They may be a little bit smaller, but if you look at the scope of it, it's more the major gatherings. It's the big conferences. It's the big corporate events. And they're just stepping back to make sure their people are safe. I had one cancel on me last week, and they were very clear. They said, we have some of our people coming in internationally. We just want to be safe. Jerry, we're going to rebook this. We're going to keep you as a placeholder. We're not going to go out and rebid it again. We'll let you know as soon as it's rescheduled. So they're aware of this. And the corporations, the event planners, they know it's going to hurt us a little bit financially right now, but they're not giving up on us. And that's the main thing is we can't give up on that. One of the big things is don't put stuff on hold. Continue your marketing, continue your sales effort, continue your advertising. If you start to cut all that out, what's going to happen is you're now going to be lost.
Right.
People aren't going to see you. And that's the biggest mistake business owners make is when we start to hit a slow period or we start to hit what could be a recessionary or a bull market, right away, what's the first thing we do is we go into hiding.
Yep.
And what I mean by going into hiding is we pull advertising, we pull ourselves out of the view of the customer. And you can't do that right now. Maybe you might curtail some of that advertising. Maybe you were thinking of taking out a second ad in a different marketplace. You may want to hold that, but make sure your primary market, your primary focus knows you're there and know you're ready and available to help them and to take on the business that is being offered to you.
I was actually talking to an event planner today, and she was actually saying that, yes, it's going to be slowing down for her for a period of time because some events had postponed, canceled. But she's like, she feels that there's going to be more people who are looking and planning for when this whole situation is over, because they're wanting to do an event and a big event and maybe celebrating it in a larger scale. So she's actually planning to increase her online advertising is where her main marketing is. So I think it's just one of those things, as you say, if you pull back and you hide and you pull your ads because you're trying to save money, people like her, they'll take your lunch.
Yeah. And the other thing you have to think about is don't forget, a lot of these events are planned out a year and a half, 2 years in advance. So what's going to happen is you're now going to have people who say, let's put this back on. Let's try to hold the event in the fall. And now you've got double the market coming in. So there will be more opportunity for you. So I think that's going to be a real plus is we're going to find that once people get comfortable, they're going to, okay, we didn't have the event in April, but we want to have it in October. And now there's more of a demand in that particular time than you've seen before.
It's interesting in the chat room right now, and thank you guys for being with Ron and Tracy and Rick, and there's a lot of folks with us tonight. One mentioned up, Eric mentioned a little bit that college events that he's having college events that are pulling out, and there will be some events that are time sensitive. A prom,
Correct.
as an example, for high school. If they can't have the prom because of the virus in the school, whatever, you're probably not going to rebook that, most likely, just because you end the school year, and that's the end of
Correct.
it. So, I mean, there's going to be some, granted, but I think a lot of the big ones you're talking about are postponing, going to move, and still be there for us in the future.
Yep. And you know what? Again, you're looking at the prom, what the attendance is. But again, remember, that's the month of May. We're in the month of June. So they may be preempting some of it by saying, hey, we're going to wait and see what happens, but we're putting you on notice. And I think, again, we can't jump to conclusions. I think a lot of the administrators, and again, think about a prom. They only get to go to it once. So maybe it might be scaled down a little bit. Maybe they might rethink how they're going to handle it. And so I think, again, we just can't jump to conclusions. Allow the administration to go through it, but be there and be supportive to them. And I think by doing that, they will truly reward you when things turn around.
For sure. Jerry, earlier you were talking about one of the big differences between 2008 and our little downturn right now is the unemployment rate was so different back then as it is now. Are there any indicators that you're seeing out there that might say that there is a concern for the unemployment rate to rise here over the next several months, or is that just looking so incredibly strong right now that it really isn't going to be a factor?
I haven't seen anything that is pointed in any of the markets, and I get a number of daily feeds every morning, and not one of them has indicated any urgency of a quick rise in the unemployment rate. Yes, I think if this prolonged for months on end, you may see companies curtailing people, maybe temporary layoffs, but we haven't seen massive shutdowns in factories. And in fact, China's coming back online.
Mm-hmm.
So it really, if you look at the state from when China kind of shut down to where they're coming back online, it was only a 30 to 45 day period. So again, we don't see it. We don't see offices curtailing. And I think the big thing is look at where they're asking people to work from home. We have a lot different now than we had in 2008.
For sure.
We have people who have the ability to work remotely. How many of us work remotely? So it isn't the point that you have to be sitting in an office. You can be home working. And for example, a major bank out in Europe basically started putting a lot of their people at home for the next 2 weeks, said, everybody work from home. Let's work from home. Let's kind of self-quarantine ourselves. But it hasn't stopped the business. It hasn't stopped them from working.
Yeah, which is an incredibly great thing in this particular time frame, because then 2 weeks you could be home and not be without that paycheck, which would start to turn our economy also.
Yeah, I haven't seen any indications of that. So that's a real positive. So again, when we look at the booking of the weddings, if we saw a rapid rise in unemployment and people losing their jobs, that would be a sign, no, we don't want to get married, or we're going to postpone our wedding, or we're going to wait, or maybe we're going to refocus again. I'm not seeing it. I haven't seen a major slowdown in wedding inquiries. And I was on the phone today with a venue that refers a lot of business to me. And they said they kind of saw a little curtailment, but not to the point that's getting them concerned.
Sure. Okay.
So, and again, this is a high-end venue. And she said, yep, maybe we saw a little bit of a 20% drop in inquiries, but not to the point that it's concerning them.
Excellent. Let's talk, so we're going to just keep moving through here. Let's talk a little bit about the interest rate. That we heard that they were dropping the interest rate to kind of keep things flowing. How does an interest rate drop right now affect a small business owner? And let's kind of take that into maybe a homeowner right now, because a lot of us do own our own homes.
Correct. What this affords you the opportunity to do is accelerate your principal reduction. So in this interest rate drop, you now have the ability to say, how can I restructure my finances? All right. Maybe you've been putting off that project. Now is the time to kind of look at it. And I'll tell you why. People come back to me and say, oh, well, I'm losing business and so forth. But we make our decision based on historical income. Mm-hmm. So for a small business owner, we're going to look and average your income over 3 years. So if you've been doing good for the past 3 years, we're not going to penalize you because of this one situation. We're not going to penalize you because things have changed. What I would tell all the DJs, got a high rate mortgage, now's the time to refinance. And I would do it now. I would talk to your bank now, because one thing that will happen is, as the market begins to heat up with people wanting to do refinances, rates may artificially rise because the market's flooded with so many applications.
Yes.
Okay. We can only process so much. The bank only has so much capital. So, again, now's the time to kind of think about it. Talk about the gear purchases. Okay. Rather than throwing it on the credit card, if you're looking at a revamp, if you can get a 15-year mortgage at 3% or a 30-year mortgage at 3.5%, and you've got sufficient equity, you may want to take a little bit out of it and do some of that restructuring, the automobile, whatever it may be. Or if you're in the high rate, and like I did, I had a 30-year mortgage. I dropped it down to 20 years. I reduced my interest rate by a full percentage point, but I kept my payment the same. So now what I've done is I've accelerated my principal and increased the equity in my property. So I have it for that rainy day fund.
Nice.
But don't stop. Don't put the brakes on. If you were looking at that new piece of equipment because it was going to be beneficial to the business that you booked already, then keep going forward with it. What you don't want to do is you don't want to begin to drain too much of your capital. And that's where you kind of look at, where am I? And that goes back to my seminar back at the DJ Expo was, are you building capital? Are you building that rainy day fund? As a business owner, you should have on reserve 3 months worth of expenses. What I mean by that is, do you have 3 months saved to pay your mortgage, keep the lights on, keep the house heated or cooled for my friends down in the South, okay? And be able to buy groceries, all right? The other thing that we have to also look at is look at what's happening with the oil prices right now.
Let's go there.
You're going to get a bonus right now with the declining oil prices because gas is going to drop significantly. All right. So instead of you spending to go to a gig that you spent a full tank of gas at $50, you may now only spend $25. You got a $25 increase in what you were doing for that gig. So you start to add that up between 30 or 40 gigs, that becomes a pay increase for you.
It does.
I think this is just, there's some dynamics that are going on there. We all talk about renewable energy. We all talk about going green and electric and so forth. And I think Russia's economy survives on that black gold. Saudi Arabia survives on that black gold. So they're looking at, how do we maintain the capital within these companies? And it just became a war between the two of them. When the markets finally settled down, it really wasn't a big deal, because conversely, those companies and manufacturers and businesses that rely on standard carbon fuels and haven't fully converted yet, this now increases their capacity and earnings capacity because they have lower energy costs. So it really will turn out to be a positive, but it's the panic of, they're flooding the market, prices are going to drop, and we all run around like Chicken Little that the sky is falling. So now that the markets have kind of looked at this in a positive light, it's going to be beneficial for all of us.
So obviously the price of oil, the barrel of oil yesterday was low 30s, and I think today it was into the mid 30s. That obviously affects some of our domestic production here in the United States. Is this something that we're going to see, that the price may spike, or is it going to be something, I mean, if you could look in that crystal ball for the next 6 months, are you thinking it's going to stay similar, or where do you think it's going to go?
I think it's going to fluctuate. Look at where it was before this hit. We were talking at $56 a barrel. Is it going to spike to $125 a barrel? I haven't read anything that's going to get in that way. I think we're going to go back to a stabilization. Once this kind of flushes it out, once Saudi Arabia and Russia get back to the table and they start talking, and the United States kind of gets back to a level production, I think we'll resume back to where levels we were. It may take a couple of months, but I don't see this where we're going to go from $30 up to $125 a barrel. It's unrealistic.
Jerry, we've only got a couple more minutes here together. If you could, some parting words for any small business owner out there who's a little concerned, what are those parting words that they should keep in mind as they go forward? Business as usual. It's the best thing I can say to you. It's business as usual. Now's the time to get out and visit your clients, visit your referral sources, let them know you're in business, let them know that this is not affecting you. Look at your balance sheet. Do you have enough cash?
Are you leveraged? What can you do to kind of reduce interest rate expenses? Again, high credit cards, and you've used them for the business. Maybe you refinance them against the house, which gives you that little bit of breathing room. It's something I kind of preached against for a while when we were in a rising and in a bull market. But this is kind of a step back.
Sure.
Take that moment to relook at it and say, what can I do? What can I kind of make happen? Don't give up on the advertising. Don't give up on marketing yourselves. Okay. Don't postpone the equipment purchases, because you know what? You're going to need it. Okay. Businesses haven't stopped buying companies. I have a client that has orders in for some equipment. They're not canceling the orders.
Mm-hmm.
We're not seeing it. I'm not reading that businesses themselves are canceling the orders. So you got to stay positive. This is expected in the economy. We went through a bull market for almost 11 years. We knew the bear was going to show its head.
Eventually,
it popped up a little bit, but look at the resilience of the market. Again, interest rates being low, I think they're going to maintain low for a period of time. Did the Fed cut too fast? In my opinion, and what I've read is, maybe the 50 basis points kind of get the market a little too nervous. 25 may have been, but I think overall, everybody's doing the right thing in terms of global structure of the economics, that we're going to come out of this. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks, but by summertime, we'll all be smiling at the DJ Expo. That's all I can tell you.
That sounds great. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at DJ Expo one more time, which happens in August for those of you who want to join us, because we'll have our DJNTV stuff there. So, Jerry, fabulous information. Thank you for your knowledge and sharing some thoughts and such with us tonight. And I'm looking forward to next week talking more about setting up businesses and the different ownership structure of businesses that are the best for their mobile entertainment world. So,
looking forward to it, John. Thank you so much.
Thanks again. We'll be back in about 10 minutes tonight with Ben Stowe talking about those high-end speakers and if they're really worth it. We'll be back with that. Thank you.